You know, Mars is the closest place that we can reach with robotic exploration that we think had a really good chance of having ancient life.
The Perseverance rover will land at a location called Jezero Crater. Jezero Crater is a very interesting place. It's a crater that once held a lake.
There are a lot of craters on the surface of Mars that could have once hosted ancient lakes, but not every crater that we think had a lake actually preserves evidence that that lake was there.
It had an inflow channel and it had an outflow channel. That means it was filled, the crater was filled with water.
In Jezero, we have probably one of the most beautifully preserved delta deposits on Mars in that crater.
This is a wonderful place to live for microorganisms, and it is also a wonderful place for those microorganisms to be preserved so that we can find them now so many billions of years later.
There is no other place on Mars that has the unique combination of a lake setting, a beautifully preserved delta, and the diverse mineralogy that we have in Jezero Crater. So it's truly a special landing site.
The major goal of the Perseverance mission is to investigate astrobiology on Mars, and in particular, to address the question of whether life ever existed on Mars. The Perseverance rover starts with a design that's very similar to Curiosity, but we've added to it a whole new set of science instruments. And these science instruments were purposefully selected to help us in the search for biosignatures.
We're going to be taking microphones with us. For the first time, we're going to have that human sense on another planet.
Perseverance carries with her a grand experiment in spacefaring technology, a helicopter, the name of which is now Ingenuity.
One of the major upgrades that Perseverance has from Curiosity is that it's able to self-drive for a distance of up to 200 meters per day. As the rover is driving, it's literally building the map of the road it's driving on Mars.
Scientists for years have told us that to really unlock the secrets of Mars, we have to bring samples from Mars back to Earth.
So what Mars 2020 is going to do is to drill samples, put them in small tubes. We're going to seal it in its own individual tube. We set them on the surface to provide a target for the second two missions, which hopefully will get in development in the next several years and could potentially get the samples back to Earth by 2031.
Perseverance is a very, very profound first step in both our understanding of our place in the universe and a stepping stone towards human exploration on Mars.
The Perseverance rover headed to Mars, ready to ride a column of fire and smoke on its way to the red planet.
And liftoff. As the countdown to Mars continues, the perseverance of humanity launching the next generation of robotic explorers to the red planet.
And Atlas TU has gone to closed loop control, standing by for SRB burnout shortly. And we have successful separation of Mars 2020 with the Perseverance rover.
We now have an acquisition of signals, and the years of blood, sweat, and tears from every person who worked on this mission is now realized as Perseverance makes its way to Mars.
We are starting the straighten up and fly right maneuver in preparation for parachute deploy. The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed and we are seeing significant deceleration. Skycrane maneuver has started. About 20 meters off the surface.
We're getting signals from MRO.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the sands of past life. The
looks like we're getting the first image.
This is the most amazing thing. This is what NASA does. This is what we can do as a country.
After 1,000 sunrises on Mars, here's where NASA's Perseverance rover is exploring now. A river environment, billions of years old, that tells a dynamic story of the forces that shaped it. Let's take a tour of this area and see where we'll send the rover next. Perseverance is exploring Jezero Crater, where an ancient lake and river system once existed. If microbes ever lived here, signs of them could be preserved in these rocks. About 3.5 billion years ago, a river carved a canyon through the crater rim, filling the crater with water and depositing sand and rocks that formed a delta. On Earth, the record of such an ancient river and lake would have been erased long ago. That's why sending a robotic explorer like Perseverance is so valuable. Mars is a special place that preserves a unique record of things that happened in the first billion years of the solar system. In this area, different rock layers record different parts of the crater's history. The flat, light-colored rocks were deposited on the banks of a river flowing slowly across the landscape. The boulders in the distance were deposited later in what was likely a raging torrent. And if this peculiar outcrop caught your attention, it did ours as well. It doesn't look like sediment at all. Perhaps it's a remnant of a lava flow, now mostly eroded away. Lab equipment on Earth can accurately measure when a volcanic rock was formed, so if we can return a sample of this lava to Earth in the future, we may know when and for how long water flowed into Jezero. From here, Perseverance will continue west. In the distance, you can trace the tops of the natural levees that formed at the near and far banks of the river. The rover will pass this area on its way upstream, continuing toward this spot where the river carved through the crater wall. You can see the canyon on the horizon here. From there, Perseverance will be well positioned to head south and ascend this natural ramp that leads up and out of the crater. We're lucky to have a route the rover can safely drive up the rim right where we need it. Starting the climb would mark a new and exciting phase of the mission, exploring rocks far older than those in Jezero and produced in an entirely different way. One tempting target are these light-colored rocks partway up the rim. They may have interacted with hot water in a hydrothermal environment, another exciting place to hunt for evidence of past life. Since finishing its study of the crater floor, Perseverance has been climbing the delta and piecing together the history of this once watery environment. We've come a long way in nearly 3 years of exploring and collecting samples, but there's still so much more to investigate. Follow the journey at mars.nasa.gov/perseverance.